Now I'm just tidying it up, looking at where I've gone wrong. The thing is not to be too precious about it, and what I like to do is to do it fairly freely. That's how I've sort of managed to get over the years, rather than overdoing it and being too photographic. So if I wanted it to be photographic, well, I just take this photo and frame it, but I want to make it something a little bit different. So I'm just doing a sort of look and see how I can improve it. So I might have a look at the finer points of tidying it up. I mean, I shall have a nice go at it now, and then I shall put it away and probably come back and have another look tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it's going. But I'm just carving away at the moment with the background to get the shape back. It's so easy to lose the shape, get carried away. I think it's sort of okay. I'm sort of happy about it, I think. So, as I say, I don't want it to be photographic, but it's got to look as if it might be a gladioli. Let's have a look at this side. I've lost this side a little bit, so we'll just try and make it a bit more defined. And as I said before, once I've done the outline, I shall go over the edges again with the colour to bring it forward. So I'm just finding the shape again. I can see a few things I'm going to have to correct. That's fine. As I said, you don't be frightened of your picture, and you make it do what you want it to do, and if it doesn't go that way, well, never mind, something lovely will happen. It'll be a happy accident. So you always say, this is my interpretation of it. So that'll just do for the moment. What I'm now looking at is that inside each of the gladiolus flowers, I can see there's a nice little green bit surrounded by this rather darkish pink. So I think I might start putting that in now. Just find the right sort of green. This might be too dark. Let's have a little look. I don't know, it might not be. So let's just make sure I get the right place. I'm just going to put that in for the moment. And I can see actually what I've left out. I've left something out here, which is a bit of colour. So I've left a bare bit of paper, which I hadn't realised. Got too carried away with things, so I'll just fill that in for the moment. As I said, if you fill things in with colour, it doesn't matter really almost which colour you use, as long as it's not the same all over. You don't want it to be the same. So I'm going to find this green again. It's quite a dark sort of green. Make it stand out a little bit. Doesn't matter if it's darker, I can tone it down a little bit. In fact, I might tone it down a wee bit at the edges now. Same here. Mustn't forget the cleaning of the fingers. I'm quite pleased with myself. I've kept them quite clean today. Now I'm going to take my magnifying glass and have a look and see actually what's happening in that little sort of cave in the flower. Yeah, I can see now I've left a few things out, so I'm going to get a little bit of colour. Something pale, and fill it in here a little bit. I say it doesn't have to be photographic, but it does have to look like a gladiolus. Now I'm going to have the pink, so let's see. I might try a dark pink. Now this is where I can see if I've gone wrong with any petals. So I'm going to put this little bit of pink in here. It's a bit dark at the moment, but that doesn't really matter because I'm going to go over it with a lighter colour in a moment. In fact, I need probably a much paler pink, so I'm just going to have a look in my boxes for a slightly paler pink. So I might have a little look in here. It's quite pale, but you never know, it might do the trick. I'll put those two in at the moment. Let's have another little look. What I think I need to do is actually put a little bit of brighter around the outside of here. Make that stand out a little bit more. I think I need a bit of a pale grey actually to just go in there. Right, let's try this nice dark pink down here. So you see a little bit more. That's not dark enough, but never mind. I don't want it very, very dark. That's a bit better. Once I've got this in, I shall make some alterations. Quite a pale pink on the outside. There's almost a little bit of pink up here. I always think if you think you see a colour but you're not sure, put it in anyway, because it's probably there. Now I'm going to do those sepally things. I'm going to look at it with my magnifying glass actually, because to make sure I know what it's doing. Because it's a photograph, you can't actually see exactly, but you've just got to make the best of it. So there's almost a sort of a beigey grey of that sepal, which I think is what it's called. So I'm just going to have another look at my pastels to see if I can find something. Another little trick is, when I'm always dropping pastels, you buy a new pastel, quite expensive, and you drop it, and of course it's broken in several bits. But I pick up the bits, I put the big bits back in the boxes, and the little bits I keep in this special box here, because it's amazing. You can always seem to find a colour you want, and you can do edges and corners with these. It's quite nice. So let's have a little look at what I'm going to do now. I want to find this beigey sort of colour. So I'm going to put it up against, that's too dark, that's not quite correct. Let's try this one. That's almost right. So I've put this pastel up against that sepal or stamen. I think I'm not very good with my flowers, what they're actually called. And it does seem to be almost that colour. So I'm going to put it in. It might be a bit dark, but I'm going to put it in. So it comes up here. It is a bit dark, that's all right, because I can go over it. And the same here. That doesn't look quite so bad there because there's a dark background. So I need to go over that with a paler colour. Let's try this. May not be pale enough, but doesn't matter at the moment. It's quite dark at the edges, so what I might do is find my darkish sort of grey and just outline it a little bit just to bring it. There we go. And then this is where I must find an absolutely pure white to do that little end bit. So I look in my white box and what is the brightest? That could be it. So luckily it's on a dark background here, so it's going to show. Seems to be a three-pronged thing, so let's do that. And same here. Make it too definite. Now I see at the end of them, I shall have to look up what it's called, sepal stamen or something with a little bit of pink. So let's do that. Actually, it's a bit darker than that. I mean, you can sort of exaggerate a little bit, not to worry too much. Now I might see where I can put the highlights of that very white. So I'm going to look back in my box and find the whitest white I can find, just to put a few highlights on now. So where do I see the brightest bits? It's just here and here. Where the light might be just hitting it. I see where I wanted to do some corrections here, so I need to get my grey. Wipe my fingers. And this little bit, I think, purpley grey here. Something I've forgotten to do. Here we go, so almost done. I'm going to look for my white again, my pure white. Where can I put some nice highlights that'll make it stand out? That's here. Always exaggerate a little bit, it's not the end of the world. So what I might do now, I've put a few highlights in. I think what I might do is leave it till tomorrow, come back and have another look, see what I can do to improve it. So like most pictures, they look excellent from a distance. So I'm just going to leave this for a moment. Try not to fiddle too much. So I'm going to leave that for today. And we'll just come back tomorrow and finish it off. It'll improve miraculously overnight.